Now that that's done and over with, let's get on with the video. Allow me to stop you right there. Hi there! That's right, boys and girls. Everybody's least favorite inconsistent content maker is back to once again make everybody in the audience wish they didn't have eyes or ears. Now, for some godforsaken reason, when I was younger and even more mentally deranged than I am currently, I somehow ended up enjoying My Little Pony. Now, for those of you who are pure and innocent, you probably never heard of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. First of all, you are incredibly lucky. Secondly, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but if you think this show attracted its intended audience of girls with half-functioning motor skills and the cognitively impaired younglings, you'd be only a quarter right. Sadly, the other 3/4 are dedicated to furry sex pests, pedophiles, and bigots. If you were one of those people who watched an episode or two with your little sibling and then subsequently decided it was no longer your problem to keep them from finding the red wine under your mother's bed, you probably never learned about the fanbase. Consider yourself lucky. What's even more intriguing than the radioactive sewage that is the fandom is the Friendship is Magic series lore. Well, kind of. It's strange to actually think about the show beyond the lessons and music so dangerously catchy you can't help but put a few in your playlist. I'm testing out this new style of video, so why not make the first one in this format a pilot review of a show for children? I sure hope the Brony fandom doesn't carpet bomb my house. Holy mother of Christ, I was not expecting the amount of info flooding I got from the first few minutes. In a matter of seconds, we're introduced to the Eldritch rulers, the elder sun-raising Princess Celestia, and moon-raising younger sister Princess Luna. We also get an introduction to basic equestrian mythos, something about Princess Luna going apeshit with jealousy and turning into a fucking devious kink monster. With the use of the elements of harmony, 6 magical elements that represent certain traits, using the power of gaze, she segregates her younger sister to the moon for thousands of years. You can already see why the fandom is the way it is. For copyright reasons, you're gonna get shitty background footage and really shitty quality clips, sorry. I mean, I guess I can be a little bit more lenient considering that both these episodes are uploaded onto YouTube in their entirety with no issues. Right? Here we meet the ultimate Mary Sue horse. Her name is Twilight Sparkle. She's a massive fucking magic nerd who rejects friendship in favor of being good enough for her teacher, who is conveniently the Eldritch princess from earlier. She was actually the one reading the history book. Because she was learning about the particles of basic social skills, she really wants to learn more about them, so she runs home, or walks. Well, I mean, she starts running, probably because she was being invited to a party and didn't want to engage in basic social skills. You know, the usual. One of the best and also worst main characters is also introduced. This is Spike, a sarcastic baby dragon who is either the best thing on screen or the worst thing to happen to television since William Peterson's departure from CSI. He's also introduced by immediately being abused. After doing some more reading and causing Spike physical distress, is now incredibly paranoid about the return of Nightmare Moon, which is, without a joke by the way, literally written in the stars. Subtlety? How about screw you? Now, Twilight doesn't realize that Celestia is omniscient and knows everything in advance, so when they send her a letter, the response tells Twilight to smoke a blunt and chill for a minute. Dear Twilight, quit being antisocial. I'm sending you to the village of Ponyville. Make some friends, you purple sparkle fuck. To avoid being beheaded for crimes against the state, Twilight hops on a chariot and goes to Ponyville, still being a whiny bitch about the whole friendship thing. She arrives at the shithole and encounters new main character Pinkie Pie, the most terrifying being in existence, and I'm not talking about the fan art. Upon spotting Twilight, she screams and fucking books it, because it's Pinkie Pie, what did you expect? This immediately makes Twilight realize that this place is fucking strange. Aside from the whole making friends thing, she was given a duty by the princess to monitor the setup for the Summer Sun celebration. Something that is made to celebrate the anniversary of Celestia segregating her sister onto the fucking moon. This is a happy holiday for some reason, in which Celestia asserts her dominance over everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. Every pony. She does this by doing something she does every day, which is raise the sun. Which makes me wonder how astrology works in the MLP universe. Does Celestia control the astronomical bodies themselves, or does she rotate the fucking planet? Also, how old is this angel horse? Jesus Christ! Hi, this is your host Beanies here to remind the audience that the age of consent is 18. So, after mild questioning of a fictional horse world, we return to Twolote, going to Sweet Apple Acres to meet the Apple family, which consists of main character Applejack, occasional episode focus Apple Bloom. The deep voice, rarely speaking Big Macintosh, who has one joke and that's always being in conversations where he gets yes or no questions. And Granny Smith. Apparently she's everybody's granny because that's literally what everyone calls her. We also get introduced to the extensive Apple family, who all exist to be named after a certain apple food that they make and then force feed to Twilight. Cut to the next scene, please. This is appealing to somebody's fetish. Twilight now walks through hell and complains that even though the weather is artificial, it's not even, oh Jesus Christ, what's that? Okay, let's not do that. So we get introduced to the second tomboy pony by her immediately abusing Twilight. I guess it's karma. The writers weren't even trying to be subtle in the slightest with her character. Her name is Rainbow Dash. She's cocky, arrogant, and also a massive fucking troll. She gets Twilight messy, then proceeds to get her wet. And by the end of it, Twilight is dry with messed up hair. Yes, I did that on purpose. Twilight then tells Rainbow to stop being a fucking stereotype, to which Rainbow responds by doing the exact opposite, clearing all the clouds out of the sky, leaving Twilight shook to her core. Somebody tell her to close her mouth. Rainbow might actually change the show rating. Now she goes to Town Hall with her messy bedhead looking aw Maine. New protagonist, a white unicorn with a purple mane named Rarity who's obsessed with being perfect and fancy. The jokes write themselves at this point. Spike immediately becomes a massive fucking simp because that's cool character writing, I guess, damn it. Rarity notices that Twilight has the hairstyle of a different culture and immediately kidnaps her. Taking Twilight to her dungeon, also known as the boutique, Rarity fixes Twilight's hair because she doesn't appreciate the culture, and also starts putting her in more sophisticated outfits. Jesus Christ, I don't really know why I should be writing jokes with stuff like this. Twilight realizes there's an opportunity to escape and immediately grabs the love-struck baby dragon and runs for the hills. This does count as both an age gap and cross-species crush. Did I mention Spike is underaged? Sadly, this will be focused on in later episodes. Allow me to remind the audience again.
Read, nigga! Read!
After informing the local authorities of Rarity, our main two shitheads walk for a while until they encounter new main character training birds how to sing for the coming celebration.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to frighten your bird.
Yes, you did, you annoying little bitch. This is Fluttershy. She has the social skills of your average Gen Zer. Her character is written in a way that makes the fan fiction and art about her kind of funny, although the show doesn't do any favors when she gets aggressive. Dominatrix, shy alt-girl. Pretend I didn't say that. She's skittish and doesn't want to talk to Twilight until she notices that there's a baby dragon named Spike, so she goes over and immediately starts harassing. Unfortunately, Spike likes having his ego stroked, so he tells Fluttershy his entire life story. Twilight makes sure he leaves out the parts where he gets abused. Now they're home. You know, earlier we saw that certain pink pony. I wonder what she's doing now. So that scheming bastard Pinkie Pie staged a surprise party, and now Twilight has to deal with more social interaction. The opposite of what she needed. Twilight proceeds to drink my mixtape, ha ha ha, I'm so funny. So after being overwhelmed by the heat, she rushes to her room while the party continues. Eventually, Spike comes in, cosplaying as Lampman to cheer her up. Instead of that, Twilight gets really angry and starts bitching, ranting to Spike about how much she hates social interaction and friendship and how much of hooey-fooey it is. So Spike gives up and goes downstairs to stand in the corner menacingly. Twilight then stares at the moon and watches as... fuck. Well, that ain't good. Ignoring that, let's go to the town hall for the celebration, and here's Princess Celestia. Never mind, it's actually Nightmare Moon, and Twilight just kinda decides this isn't good, and then the episode ends. Previously on My Little Pony. No, we're not doing that. Anyways, we're right where we left off. Nightmare Moon, being the massive cunt she is, decides to laugh maniacally in the other ponies' faces about their princess being missing. Something about Nighttime Eternal, which is not a Doom Eternal reference, sadly. The mayor of Ponyville sends the generic white guys after her, but to no use, because they're generic white guys against an eldritch being. What did you expect? Nightmare Moon sees that the lesbian pony is trying to kill her, so she turns into a cloud of swamp ass and runs off. Or floats off, I guess? Anyways, because Rainbow Dash tried to chase a cloud of swamp ass, she notices that Twilight is running away to her house. Being the stalker she is, she follows her along with the other main characters. Spike is too fucking base for this shit and goes to bed. Twilight begins looking around for books to figure out more about the elements of harmony, and then the others show up. Rainbow Dash decides to try and interrogate Twilight with intimidation tactics. Applejack steps in to be the voice of reason and instead talks like a normal person. I mean, as normal as someone with a southern accent can get. Twilight begins explaining the equestrian lore, at least the important parts that are actually important, like the elements of harmony or the bullshit MacGuffin stones, whichever you prefer. She also name drops the trait trait each element represents, and we get some very subtle camera work, which definitely doesn't reveal the big plot point for later.
Known. Kindness, laughter, generosity, honesty, and loyalty.
Twilight explains that they need to go to the old castle of the princesses to retrieve the bullshit stones. The castle is located in the Everfree Forest. Ooh! The Everfree Forest is a scary forest with a bunch of spookily drawn trees, creatures of unknown origin and ability. Basically, it's a location for conflict plot points. That's not a joke either. Most of the episodes involving this place have conflict focused on it. Basically, it's the Amazon rainforest without a deforestation problem. Also, Twilight tries to go alone, but the plot needs to happen, so who cares? But hey, we see her react to the word friend like it's a racial slur. I wonder if the MLP universe has slurs canonically. If not, I'll come up with some. Enough about that. Let's focus on our main cast of lesbians and fetish bait as they adventure into That Nightmare Moon individual is here to cause some problems as a cloud of swamp ass. The main six find some devious za and smoke that shit, getting fucking plastered on that Everfree Kush. This causes them to be unaware of the fact that there's a fucking cliff, much like the people sleeping in the back of my granddad's car. Unfortunate. So because the cloud of swamp ass decided to make the ground break underneath them, they all start falling. Thinking realistically here, this would cause the Autism Squad to lose many layers of skin or fur or whatever the fuck. For some reason, Twilight forgets she has magical powers. It's probably the Kush. Because of this, she almost falls off the cliff. Luckily, Applejack pulls a Captain McTavish cliffhanger and saves her. Applejack has spatial awareness and looks Twilight in her eyes. Let go. You want me to what? Are you crazy? Listen here, you bisexual colored bookworm nerdy unicorn shitbag. Let go, you'll be fine, I fucking promise. Upon hearing the sincerity, Twilight realizes that she risks social connection and attempts to fucking kill herself. The two ponies with wings catch her, so that's nice, I guess. Applejack safely descends. Guess she told the truth to Twilight. She was in fact safe. How honest. The main six are still higher than fuck, and now there's a Manticore who is very angry. 5 of our MCs immediately choose violence but suck at it and get fucking dumpstered. However, animal lover Fluttershy, still fucked up on that shit, decides to face the Manticore with peace. She very kindly realizes that the Manticore was a fucking victim and had his hand poked badly with a BFT. The big fucking thorn is causing the poor bastard to be cranky. To solve the conundrum, Fluttershy reclaims the BFT. She feels her blood boil, finally holding the sacred weapon. She gets flashes of her past. But before she can get violent, just as the rest of her friends were, the Manticore prevents this from happening by immediately giving Fluttershy wholesome love. Well, guess removing that thorn was a good enough act of kindness for this wild animal. Peep the fade though, goddamn! Oh, so the BFT is Nightmare Moon, but I honestly don't care anymore. On this episode of Nightmare Moon attempts to foil our characters, she attempts scare tactics by giving the trees spooky faces. I personally would have tried putting VHS distortion over a Snapchat filter. That seems to scare everybody nowadays. Because the trees have vicious teeth, every fucking pony is scared shitless of them. Well, I mean, except for the psychotic fourth wall breaking Nightmare Pinkie Pie. She's the only one who can solve this problem. Knowing she's the scariest thing in the forest, she laughs at the trees and then song number. For copyright reasons, allow me to give you a 100% accurate recreation. Y'all are a bunch of pussies. It's just a couple weird leaves. Laughter and off-screen sex ensue, and that cloud of bullshit wishes it could join. Source? My source is merely fictitious illusion. In English, I made it the fuck up. Next up on the list of convenient circumstances that make Twilight realize that having friends with benefits isn't so bad is a river moving rapidly. It's doing this because of a punk bitch serpent who is very obviously a drama queen. He's upset, and instead of manning the fuck up, he does what most people from my generation do. When faced with the slightest conflict, the solution is to bitch and moan, apparently. This is the part where Rarity realizes that This is the part where Rarity realizes that the serpent is sad because his well-groomed mustache was sullied by who else but Nightmare Moon. Rarity simply cannot allow this crime against what she calls fabulosity live, so she rips off his scale and fucking murders him. Just kidding, she actually cut off her own tail. With the desecrated tail, she then generously attaches it to the broken side of the serpent's mustache. Somehow he accepts this and stops being a flamboyant fuckstick, helping the main protagonist get across. The peeps all talk about how cool it was and how selfless Rarity is. Keep this in mind. They try to call this bitch selfless. I'm running out of jokes. Can we hurry this up? The second to last test is a bridge that isn't bridging, and Twilight almost dies for the 78th time. Rainbow Dash volunteers to go fix the bridge, and once she gets to the other side and is about to tie, some fuckers show up. Something I forgot to mention earlier because I didn't care was that Rainbow Dash wants to be a part of this pristine flying team called the Wonderbolts. These are not the Wonderbolts, however. These are the Shadow Bolts, which is actually Nightmare Moon, goddammit. They stroke Rainbow Dash's massive fucking ego in an attempt to get her to join. Fortunately, because of her deep-seated loyalty, she chooses her friends. Yippee. Oh good, we're here. Thanks you 5, fuck off now. Tawarange begins to focus as the rest of the ponies leave the room because she told them to. Thinking about the equestrian lore, she begins to magic her way into infinity, and then Nightmare Moon does a teleporting cliche. Twilight tries to activate the elements and fails. Also, look at that face. So even with all your magic, All your research, it wasn't enough. Foolish foal. The world around Twilight seems frozen, her breathing jagged. Hopelessness stung in her chest. Was this it? Was Equestria doomed to suffer nighttime eternal? Between the laughter, however, voices beckoned. In that exact moment, Twilight understood. She stood back up and laughed slyly. This shocked Nightmare Moon. Why are you laughing? Your pitiful elements are destroyed, worthless. That's where you're wrong. It seems that the elements have taken a new form. The very spirit of them lives within these individuals who now stand with me. So you see now, Nightmare Moon? No! The sixth element is here. The spark failed, didn't it? No. A different kind of spark was achieved. A spark in my heart, when I realized just how happy I was to see these individuals. And now, we all stand against you. Game over. Well, that was dramatic. So after their epic use of lesbianism, the sun rises. So too does Princess Celestia. Where she was when all this was happening? I don't know, but apparently she knew the outcome beforehand, so like I said earlier, she's omniscient. After congratulating the main six on their epic use of lesbianism, she goes over to her sister who has now been changed back into her original form. Her sister immediately apologizes for being jealous all those years ago, and then they immediately make up. And now they're happy again or some shit. Later, back in the ghetto, Twilight realizes lesbianism is awesome and that she wants to stay in Ponyville. Celestia agrees as long as she sends letters about her knowledge. Fourth wall break, okay cool, can we get to the review part now? Well, you're still alive after all that shitposting. Sorry if the clips look like shit. Unfortunately, copyright is fucked and Hasbro is scum. Deadass milked this series more than the Sex Pest did. You know, I gotta admit, this certainly is an interesting pilot to a series despite how much I mock it. It sets up some basic concepts and equestrian mythos that can be explored, establishes locations and characters. It does everything a pilot is supposed to do. It's honestly quite impressive considering the source material is kinda whatever. Now, while some right-wing people may call this show a liberal power fantasy, to them we say, cry about it. I mean, really, some of these basement-dwelling contrarians like to complain about the fact that a show for children on the spectrum isn't resorting to epic battle scenes with violence and blood, oh my. There is no woke agenda. It is a show about colorful horses! Unironically bringing politics into a children's show is cringe as fuck, not gonna lie. Anyway, what do I think of these first two episodes? Well, they managed to hold my attention long enough to ignore responsibilities when I was younger, and of course they dragged me through the series the same way EDP drags his fat ass to the cupcake shop. I'm gonna rate these two episodes a solid 4.5 sparkle fags out of 5. Now excuse me, a gang of angry bronies is currently approaching my house on their mobility scooters.